Hello, I'm Ben. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about a #1 national bestseller. The book is called Who Moved My Cheese? This is by Spencer Johnson, MD, and it's a very short read. The book is a short book. There's what that looks like. I am going to put this as the thumbnail on the video. I read this about a decade ago and actually had my leadership at the plant that I was running at the time read this book as a resource as well. So we'll dive right in and tell you a little bit about what it means. I definitely think you should pick up a copy if you're in leadership, or frankly, for motivational purpose, this book will actually serve as insight for anyone that's actually goal driven and thinking about achieving something or has an aspiration to achieve something. So let's talk about the book very quickly. Who Moved My Cheese? The cheese in the book is a metaphor for what we want to have in life, whether it's a job, relationship, money, house, freedom, health, recognition, or just peace. That's what the cheese stands for in this book. The maze or the movement is the time that we spend looking for or working towards the things that we want. So the idea is that if you consistently do the same thing daily, sooner or later, what you're looking for is going to be missing. So you're going to have to redirect and go after the new target. So obviously the cheese is the goal. So having cheese makes you happy, right? And the more important that is to you, the more you want to hold on to it and the more you want to achieve it. So as you migrate through the book, you learn that if you don't change, you can become extinct. Many jobs are now extinct. Many roles have changed. And as you know, many companies have come and gone. So the idea is that you're going to change and grow, right? The idea is that what you do, or I guess more around the right question would be, what would you do if you were not afraid? So if everything's changing, jobs change, and ultimately roles and positions become extinct, change is inevitable. So it's not something to fear. So when you move fear from the conversation, the question you should be asking yourself, what would you want to achieve if you had no fear? I've heard that question asked before too. If you were a billionaire today, what would you want to do tomorrow? When I'm asked that question, I think about stuff like this. I'd like to do the channel so I can share the wisdom that I'm finding, so I can share the knowledge that I've ascertained in life. And so I hopefully can be of help to others that are trying to achieve something like that too. So the next piece around that, if you're going after something, you have a target and you're going through the process to earn that. You've heard me say in previous videos, inspect what you expect. So in this book, it says smell the cheese often. That way you know when it's getting old, right? So the suggestion around that point is that sometimes goals have to migrate and change. Sometimes you have to change what you're going after specifically or the way that you're trying to achieve those things, because you want your movement to be the proper movement. Sometimes movement in a new direction is what helps you find a new goal, which helps you find new cheese, as it were to be said. So make sure that you're still heading towards what you want. That's why you should assess what your goals are regularly, and you should assess how you're trying to attack those goals with regularity. So you make sure you're as agile as you need to be to get where it is you want to be. When you move beyond your fear, you feel freer. And I'll say this, if you've removed fear from your life for some reason or the other, the sense of freedom you get from that can be ultimately extremely rewarding. So, I left a job previously in my life that I lived 24/7. There was no quality of life. There was no time where I was not thinking about work or thinking about what I had to do for work. Now, I will say this, I'm someone that's very internally motivated to work, meaning I enjoy work, and so I could get lost in it for hours and be fine with that. The problem is life flaps by, right? And the more you're dedicating yourself wholly to one thing, you miss out on other things. So what really got me and what turned the key for me to get out of that situation was not the work in itself, even though it was continuous. And we've talked about before, motion, not all motion is movement in the right direction, right? Or not all motion is progress. This was one of those situations where this company strategically thought that continuous movement was progress. And so all they did was wore out their leaders, wore out their operational teams, kept things in front of them constantly. And as soon as you were working towards something, it was dropped and something else was picked up. The problem was nothing was sustained. So any improvement that would come from anything was not something more than, oh, look at that, a passing flurry. So that's one thing about this. As you change, you want to make sure that you're thinking about what you're trying to do and inspect what you're doing often, so you have that goal lined up with the action that you're putting into progress. So imagine yourself enjoying the new target, whatever that may be, the new freedom that I just told you about and that I mentioned, and before you find it, and then you want to envision that and know what that looks like. And I said it before, write that down. If you have a goal that's written down, it's now become a target, right? If you don't have a goal that's written down with a deadline, what you're talking about is hopes and dreams. So hopes and dreams, you don't have effort moving towards them. A goal, you do. In the book, it goes down, the quicker you let go of old goals, the sooner you will find new goals. And that's what I was just meaning just then. Second, I turned loose of that job that was nothing but busyness, busy. I was able to focus on several things that made me find my current situation much more fulfilling. Did it add stressors, and was the change uncomfortable and unbearable for a bit? Yeah, maybe. But ultimately, if you move forward in a way that seems natural and it seems healthy, then you will come around to that change. It will normalize, and you will feel that sense of calm after the fact. Is it safer to search in the maze than remain in a cheeseless situation? What that means is, if you don't have the reward you're looking for, wouldn't it be worth taking the risk, looking somewhere new to try to find those goals? Wouldn't it be worth the effort to look somewhere new to try to achieve new goals? If you're not where you should be, or you feel stagnant in what you're currently doing, I think that's a pretty good call out to what you have to do. It's better to make a change when you know it's time to make a change than to wait until a time that you're forced. If you wait to the time that you're forced, then you might not have selectivity in the moment, so it might be a really bad time for you. It could be a health situation, could be, whatever it may be, where you're not 100%. And if you're not 100%, you're less likely to make the right decisions, because you get forced to make a decision that you have to make. Old beliefs do not lead you to new situations. It says old beliefs do not lead you to new cheese, but cheese is the thought process, cheese is the target, right? When you see that you can find and enjoy new rewards, it's easier for you to change course. So that's the thing, you have to be open to that, and you have to start looking in places you're not familiar with to get that. That's exactly what we were talking about earlier. Noticing small changes early helps you adapt to bigger changes that are yet to come. Many quotes are out there, and I've quoted them many times, how change is continuous. The only thing that stays the same in life is that things change, right? Smaller changes can sometimes tell you, like the book said, that you need to be looking for bigger changes, but smaller changes may be telling you that you should be looking for new changes, meaning they're better for you and that's where you should be. So I do think this book is a good reference for folks, and I think if you read through it and some of the stories and case studies within, I think it is very useful on that, and maybe it will help you, especially if you're in a time of change in your life. It could be a reference for you. So basically, remember that change happens. Change happens. They keep moving the cheese. Sometimes that's a negative thing. Sometimes that's a positive thing. I've told you before, when the goalposts keep moving, sometimes teams can't get focused and they feel overwhelmed. So when that change is happening, see if it's consistent and improving change, or if it's just change for change's sake. 2 is to anticipate change, because you know it's coming. The only thing that's consistent in life is change, so anticipate change. 3 is monitor that change. Look at it often, inspect what you expect so you can do what you need to do. The next is adapt to change quickly. That's why you're monitoring, so you can adapt to what's coming down the pipe. The quicker you let go of the old thought process, the sooner you can enjoy the new process and capitalize off of it. The idea is to keep yourself fluid and keep yourself adaptable. The next is change, and enjoy that change. Change sometimes is growth, right? So enjoy that change, enjoy that growth. Know who you were, but know who this is making you, and know what you're targeting in the future and what you want to be. And be ready to change quickly. Change is going to come again and again. If you're ready to change quickly and you're adaptable, you can capitalize off of that as often as possible. So the book is Who Moved My Cheese? Give it a shot. It's a #1 bestseller. It has been #1 in New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Business Week, USA Today. magazine. This book is over a decade old, but it's still worth the read. Spencer Johnson, MD, Who Moved My Cheese. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like and subscribe. Be good.